Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria and today we're going to be doing my mid-month wrap-up. So I am filming this a little early. It is the 11th of April today, but my best friend from college is coming to visit, so I'm pre-filming a bunch of videos and this is one of the ones that I'm pre-filming. So it's a little early. I'm filming it a little early. But this month I have been seriously marathoning books. So I've read 17 books already, so I figured it was okay for me to film a little early. I have, like I said, been marathoning books and like really like working my way through series. Like I've been reading like series one after the other. So I've been having a lot of fun this month. I have seriously deviated from my TBR. Last month I was in a sweet small town vibe, and this month I have been in a serious reverse harem kick. I have been like reading all the reverse harems. It's so fun how your moods change and what you're in the mood for like switches, and 1 minute you're reading light and fluffy small town romances and the next minute you're reading reverse harems with 5 guys. So I am gonna go through the books that I read this month so far, and we're gonna get into them. So the first book that I started the month off with was Bond of Destiny by Tessa Hale. This was on my TBR for last month because it came out at the end of last month, but I didn't get to it until the beginning of April. This is book 3 in a paranormal werewolf shifter reverse harem series. It's the 3rd and final book in the series, and I really enjoyed book 1 and 2. The series follows younger people, so they're actually, I think, in high school when they start, so they're only like 17 or 18, all of them, and there are, I believe, 5 guys and 1 female. The heroine moves to a small town, and she has no idea about the supernatural world, about werewolves at all. She was adopted when she was a baby, so she has no idea. But when they move to this small town, she finds out that in this town there's this basically kind of like commune of people that like all live together, that are like known in the town, that like all of them live together, and within that commune it's like very common for people to have multiple partners, or like one woman to have multiple partners, and she discovers that they are actually shifters. She finds out that she's a shifter, and it goes on this journey throughout the series of her getting closer and bonding with her 5 mates. And in this world, the more mates that a woman has, the more powerful she is. So commonly women have 2 or 3 at most, and she has 5, so she is incredibly powerful, and they are trying to discover her background and who her parents actually are and how she has so much power, and fight off the evil that's coming to try and hurt her. So this was the 3rd book in the series, and I was super excited to read it, but it actually did let me down just a little bit. I preferred book 1 and 2 in the series. I think I gave this book 3.5 stars. It was okay. I liked the way that the relationships came together, but I thought that the like conflict that they were all leading up to was extremely predictable and resolved very quickly. And so I thought that the conflict was a little could have been a little bit more intense, could have been drawn out a little bit more, but overall it was not bad. Then the second book that I read was Simi After Class by Megan Quinn. This has become one of my new favorite Megan Quinn romances. I absolutely adored this book. It is a workplace romance between 2 teachers. It's enemies to lovers. The heroine Greer is new to the school, and she has just recently been hired. This is her first teaching job, and she is likes to use like a lot of alternative methods when she's teaching, very non-traditional methods when she's teaching. And the head of the English department, who she happens to have a classroom right next door to, named Arlo Turner, he is a very traditional teacher, and he does not like her teaching style. Especially because their classrooms are right next door to each other. She's very loud while she teaches. He's very strict and he likes it to be silent. So they butt heads very severely in the beginning. They have some great tension, great buildup. Arlo is very like prim and proper, and so she starts to she becomes friends with his friends, and she starts to play pranks on him as a way to like get him out of his shell and like piss him off a little bit, and like get a little bit of revenge for being an asshole to her. And it's so fun. I really, really liked it, and I would 100% recommend it. I really enjoyed it. Then I read the second book in that series. I'd actually already read book 3 in this series. They can all be read as standalones, but I had already read the third one, which I think is called Put Me in Detention, I think is what it's called. So it was interesting to go back and read the first one in the series, because you could definitely, like, they set up the second and third books, so that was fun. And then after that I read the second book in the series, which is Earn Your Extra Credit. This one is a friends to lovers, or friends to, it's not really friends to enemies, but it's like friends to lovers, but they've had a falling out within their friendship. The hero has a huge crush on the heroine and really wants to be progress their friendship to become more than friends, and the heroine is oblivious, to the point where the hero asks her out on a date to a baseball game, and she shows up bringing her friend with her, not realizing that he meant it to be a date, and then she goes home with somebody else, with another guy at the end of the date. I mean, it was like she was oblivious, she had no idea. And so he is very dejected, he's sad, he like is just, he can't stand really to be around her anymore because it hurts a lot. But their two best friends, who are the hero and the heroine from book 1, they are getting married in a destination wedding in Hawaii, and he's the best man and she's the maid of honor, and so they go on this destination vacation for the wedding party, and they're the only two that are like not in relationships. And so but the heroine is super drunk one night, and she runs into her estranged father at the resort that they're staying at, and her estranged father introduces her to his new fiance that she had no idea about, and it's the mean girl that used to bully the heroine when she was in high school. And it just adds so much drama, and the heroine says to the father and the new fiance that she's actually there also with her fiance, and she names her best friend's name, and so they end up fake dating. So it is a fake dating situation. I was very frustrated by this story. I was really frustrated by the heroine. I thought her pettiness about her father was very childish, and that I was irritated that she didn't just sit down and like talk to her dad. Like, I understand getting really upset, but the petty games that she was playing, like childish games that she was playing on the her father's new fiance, was really, really dumb, and I just got so frustrated with it. I felt really bad for the hero also. Like, I really was like, the hero, I like felt he deserved better. Like, I didn't think the heroine was good enough for him. So I got really frustrated. So I did give it 3 stars. Because I did like how it like ended, and the overall like relationship like did eventually pan out, but throughout most of the middle I was so frustrated. Then the next one that I read is This Is Wild by Natasha Madison. This one is a hockey romance. This one I did not like. It is about a heroine whose whole family is involved in hockey. Her father is like a hockey legend. Her brother, her brother-in-law, her two brothers-in-law are all hockey players, and she can't really stand hockey. But she is a realtor, and when they have a new player coming to the team that her brother, who is now the manager of the hockey team that he used to play for because he's retired, he asks her to find this new player a house, and he's like super off limits, this new player, because he has just gotten out of rehab. He was a drug addict, and he has now transferred to this new team, and he is seriously like working through a lot of issues out of rehab. Like, obviously he's a recovering addict, and so he struggles a lot, and I just thought it was the dumbest time for them to be getting in a relationship. He like even specifically said to her, like, I can't be in a relationship right now, like this is not healthy for me, I need to deal with me first. And she like, it felt like she was like unnecessarily pushing him and flirting with him, and I felt that that was really wrong, especially when like there was this one scene, I'm sorry if this is spoilers, but I just need to talk about it because it was so frustrating. But there was this one scene where the heroine is like, says that she loves the hero, and he's like, I need to love me first. And she just like breaks down in this like over dramatic, can't walk because she's so upset moment. And they had like I was like, what happened? Where did the love come from? I don't understand. Because like 2 seconds ago you were like, this is forbidden and I don't like you and I don't like hockey and you're not my type. And then like 2 chapters later she's like breaking down in tears and can't even stand up because of how upset she is that he doesn't love her. I was like, bullshit. I gave this book 2 stars. I did not like it. Then I read The Grumpy Player Next Door by Pippa Grant to try and get some fun Pippa Grant in after I hated that book. But then I hated this book too. I also gave this one 2 stars. It was not good. It is about a hero who's a baseball player, and it's the off season, and he and the whole team are at this very small town that one of the players lives in to train together for the off season. And it is a romance, brother's best friend type romance, and it's forbidden, and I hated the heroine. I thought the hero was super annoying, and I did not like this book either. It was just not good. Then after that, I read Tutoring the Player by Rebecca Genshak. This is the Hello Lovely box edition, and I wanted to try it. Hadn't read a new adult in a while, and I actually enjoyed this one. It is I think the title is my least favorite thing about this book. I just don't think that it fits the book at all. But this book is about a heroine who is in college, and she has this she's like a wallflower. She's very like not really like nerdy, but she's very like not popular, and she is always on the sidelines kind of thing. And she she lives next door, in the house next door to this like big are they hockey players? Maybe hockey team house where they always have these huge parties, and she kind of like sits up in her treehouse and watches them because she's like always been dreaming about going to these parties and being invited and having fun, because she's kind of feeling like she's like missing out on that part of college. And she has this huge crush on one of the guys on the hockey team who's like the pristine like Troy Bolton type character, who's like the very like, he's the head of the team, captain of the team, he's beautiful, he's so nice, that kind of thing. And she has a class with him, and her teacher pairs this guy she has a crush on, and the guy she has a crush on's best friend up together for a project. And she's like, this is my chance to talk to this guy she has a crush on. And ends up becoming friends with the two of them, and she ends up actually becoming more friends with the best friend, whose name is Jordan. I think his name is Jordan. Who's the like bad boy type player, who's the always there for a good time, doesn't spend the most time studying. He like is kind of grazing through college with like B's and C's because he's like, I can just handle it. He's not dumb by any means. He just doesn't focus too much of his energy on trying to get A's. He's just like, I'm gonna pass the classes and that's all I want. And then I'm gonna enjoy the rest of the time. He has a very free-spirited attitude that I actually really enjoyed. And the heroine ends up becoming a lot closer to him and realizing that although her and this guy she had a crush on match really well on paper, he and her have no chemistry. They have no passion. Their relationship is very boring. Like, they never even date, but just like they just don't have any spark to their relationship. Whereas her and Jordan have this like fiery, passionate, sparks fly type relationship where he brings out this wild side in her that she really needs, and she calms the chaos in him when he needs it. And they have this really great like push and pull type relationship that I really enjoyed. I did end up giving this book 4 stars because there were a couple of things that did bother me in it. The heroine doesn't talk to her friends enough and tell like her friend for like most of this book, even after the heroine realizes that she doesn't like the guy that she had a crush on and that she actually likes Jordan, and that she's like been hanging out a lot with Jordan and basically like sort of dating Jordan, her friends still think she has a crush on the guy because she's like, I don't want to tell them because they're gonna tell me that Jordan is a player and that he's gonna break my heart. And she's like, and I don't want to hear that. And I was like, trust your friends enough to talk to them about your relationship and say, hey, I'm happy in this, and you can want what's best for me, but your friends should want what's best for you, but they also have to do it to a point where it's like, if she had sat down with her friends and been like, hey, I like Jordan, I like our relationship, he's good for me, and he could break my heart, but this is what I want right now, I feel like that would have been such a more emotionally mature conversation. But I do have to remember that they are like in college, and like I know people who never would have done that in college, even if like that's more my viewpoint on things, is that I like that like communication aspect. But I definitely know college students who would be more like this, so I think it's more realistic, I guess, but it was frustrating. So I did give it 4 stars. I did really enjoy it, and it was what I wanted, what I needed in the moment to get over those 2 that I hated. Then, after that, I dove headfirst into the reverse harem. I was book talk like seriously persuaded me and like convinced me to read the Madison Kate series by Tate James, and I binged all 4 books in the Madison Kate series, one after the other. This is a reverse harem series about a girl named Madison Kate who lives in this small town called Shadow Grove, where it is like a town run by like illegal activity. It's like overrun with gangs and illegal activity, and her father is this like high political person in the town who is trying to like be the do-gooder and like clean the neighborhood basically, but he's also dirty. And one day she goes to this underground MMA fight at an abandoned amusement park, and shots start firing, and she and her friend who weren't supposed to be there start running around, running away, trying to escape, and she ends up running into this head of a gang leader, and she needs to run away from him. He knows exactly who she is, so she needs to run away from him, and she runs into this fun house where she meets these 3 guys who sort of like rescue her from the gang leader, but also kind of terrify her, but also excite her. And then cops come, and the cops arrest her, and they blame her for this whole situation that goes down at this amusement park and all the illegal activity that happens. They blame it on her, and she wants revenge on those 3 guys. So it's like a year or so later when she returns to the town after her like penance, and she finds 3 guys from Riot Night living in her father's house, where she's supposed to be living, and who they are going to the same college as she's going to be going to. And it is so much. There is like so much that goes into it. It is very like enemies to lovers, dark, a lot of dark elements to it. Trigger warnings for murder, violence, all that jazz. All the things that you would find in like a dark romance, kind of like a mafia element, but it was like gangs instead of mafia. But it was dark, and I binged all 4 of the books because each book ends on a cliffhanger, and the cliffhangers are like so addictive. There was something that was so addictive about this series where I like blew through all of them because I could not fucking put them down, and I really enjoyed them. I think I gave all of them 4 stars. I think I gave the first one 4.5 stars. But I really fucking enjoyed them, and I had a great time reading them. Then, after I finished the last book in the Madison Kate series, which ended on like, not really a cliffhanger for the book, but like a cliffhanger to the next series. So like their relationship wrapped up, but it did end on like a secret that you don't find out unless you read the next series. And I got hooked, and I ended up binging the Hades series right after the Madison Kate series. And the Hades series is the same sort of vibe, except the heroine in it is a gang leader for one of the gangs in Shadow Grove. And she has her own issues going on that she needs to deal with. She's a very badass heroine. I really liked her. If you are going to read the Hades series, I would recommend reading Madison Kate first, because you do just get more information in Madison Kate that you can use in the Hades series, because some of the characters really overlap and you get more of a background on those characters in the Madison Kate series. You could totally read it without reading the Madison Kate series and understand, but you do get more background. So if you're going to read both, I would recommend starting with the Madison Kate series. But overall, this was the same sort of vibe, addictive, dark, fun, sexy, so good. And I really enjoyed them, and I gave all of them 4 stars also. And I read the novella that goes with both the Madison Kate and the Hades series that you're supposed to read after you read the Hades series, called Vault. This I gave 3 stars. It was okay. It was like not needed. Like I didn't really need to. This novella followed the Madison Kate characters while they're on like a side mission for the Hades series. So you know that it's going on, but you don't know what exactly they're doing. So it was interesting to see. It was basically just like mostly sex scenes in this novella, which was fine by me. But it just was like, it was fine, but it was not like necessary. I didn't really have to read it for the series to work. Then after I binged those 2 Tate James series, I read Baby and the Late Night Howlers by Catherine Moon. I have been wanting to read more Catherine Moon since I read The Lady of Rooksgrave Manor and just haven't picked anything up. So I decided to pick up this one because this is the first book to Lola and the Millionaires. I've been seeing a lot about Lola and the Millionaires, but this is like book 1, and I was reading some of the reviews for Lola and the Millionaires that were saying that if you read Lola and the Millionaires is better if you read Baby's story first. So I read Baby's story, and this is a reverse harem Omega-verse romance. I have read very few Omega-verse romances, so this was really interesting to me because this one explained the most about the Omega-verse, like a lot more about the alpha and omega and beta dynamics in it than any of the others that I had read, which I was really glad for, because some of the other Omega-verse romances, they like go into it without like any sort of like explanation, but this one did a really good job of like fully fleshing out and understanding the alpha versus beta versus omega dynamics that occur in the world that the book takes place in. Baby has thought for her whole life that she's a beta, and she is like in her mid-20s, and she all of a sudden starts perfuming, which is something that omegas do when they're like about to start heat, or when they're in the presence of alphas that they find sexy, basically. And so she ends up discovering that she is a late blooming omega, which is like super rare. It's a very rare, like 1% of omegas are late bloomers, and she just happens to be one of them. And she, unlike a lot of other beta females, has never wanted to be an omega. She always has been very comfortable as a beta. And so she has like her whole world turned upside down when her distinction changes. And she has to move out of her building, and she has to seek haven at this shelter, and she has to try and start finding a pack who will help her through her heats, because omegas go through these heats where they need to be satisfied by alphas. And so this safe haven that she goes to is this place where she is able to try and safely find alphas and find a pack where she can like basically like find a home. And she ends up with this pack that is actually a motorcycle club, which was really interesting and fun. So I really enjoyed this. I really loved her relationship with each of the guys in it, and how they were very distinctly different. Like they all had different, very distinct personalities, and did different things for her. Like they didn't all just feel like copies of each other, which I really enjoyed. I do again think that the conflict in this was very predictable and not very like thought out, I guess. But I didn't mind it, because I didn't really like, I liked that they got over the conflict so quickly, because it didn't end up taking away from the relationships that she was having with the men. So I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 stars, and I will hopefully be continuing with more Catherine Moon books, because I enjoyed them. And the last book that I read so far in April is The Magic of Discovery by Britt Andrews. This is the first book in a paranormal reverse harem series. This one is one that's been on my radar for a while, actually. But it is a 5-book series, so it just felt like a lot of commitment at the time. But after binging the Madison Kate and the Hades series, I was like, 5 books I can do, that's fine. So I don't know if I'll binge this series, because I just finished book 1 and I like am interested to read book 2, but it doesn't have like that like burning urge as much as I did when I was reading Madison Kate. So but I enjoyed this book. It is these 4 men come to this small town on a secret mission, and they are searching for a woman, and they meet this girl in the town who all 4 of them are like super drawn to, attracted to, Her name is Sage. She is a green witch, which is like, she like is like an earth witch basically. She like grows things. And they all have different like affinities is what they call it, which is basically like each of them are a different type of, like have a different type of magic. So like one of the guys is a shifter, one of them is like a fire magic, one of them can like sense emotions, that kind of thing. So all four of them are very drawn to her. The discussion of like the polyamorous relationship is so open in this, which I really enjoyed, because it's like a common, it's like not an unheard of thing in this like magic community. So I liked that aspect of it, where it was like not a big deal at all for them to be polyamorous. So it was like super easy for her to be like, I like all of you and not, I don't want to pick one kind of situation. And how unjealous the boys were. Like the boys have this like really strong bond together, which is cool. There's this prophecy going on also that she has, where it says that she'll have 5 mates. So I don't know who this 5th mate's gonna be, but I'm intrigued to find out. I don't know how he's gonna fit in the dynamic of these like 4 guys who've known each other since childhood. So I'm intrigued to see how it goes. But overall I enjoyed it, and I did give it 4 stars. So but my camera battery is flashing, so I have to wrap this up. But that's all of the books that I read so far in April. So thank you so much for watching. Please let me know down in the comments below if you have a reverse harem romance recommendation that I should read, because obviously I need more. But that's going to be it for this video. So please subscribe so you can see more content from me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.